got a great feeling from Jimmy Lakey. Jimmy Lakey in the morning makes me feel alive. Woke me up this morning, now I'm up and on my way. Oh, 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 yeah, what a great way to start your day, the Lakey way.
All right, welcome to the program, everybody. Thursday morning, the 15th day of May, year of our Lord, 2015, 2025. We went back 10 years. We lost 10 years of our lives, producer Chad. We're going to do it all over again. That's a question. Would you like to have a redo on the last 10 years, or are you just happy to keep marching right forward? Anyway, good to have you here on the program, the Wednesday edition, 15th day of May, year of our Lord 2025. Jaime Lagos. Jimmy Lakey is my name, and pleasure to have you here. Pleased to have you here. And the crowds are starting to gather from around the four corners of the world, north, south, east, and west, as we just went live on several platform streams across America and in Bangladesh. We always love our friends in Bangladesh. It's always good to have them. But we can check what the countries we get the people pick up the stream in. And, of course, that's all we see is country or kind of geographic area. And, the East Asians, they love us there. They really do. Anyway, good to have you here. So people are gathering around. They're getting notifications, pops-ups on their YouTubes and on their Rumbles and on their Facebooks and on their X, and says Lakey's live. And giddy goody gumdrops. Everybody's coming. So anyway, welcome to the program as you join us and sit down in class. Everybody behave yourself. Take out pen and paper. Be ready to take notes. Will be a pop quiz at the end of the show. I feel like there's a substitute teacher that's out there. Anyway, good to have all of you here. Glorious day the Lord has made. Guess what's going to happen today? Today is Thursday, the year of our Lord. As I said, 2025. Jay Ratliff, aviation and travel expert, joins us every Thursday morning. That is about 1 hour from right now. Jay Ratliff, when I got unleashed from the bonds of corporate radio, and I said, hey, I'm going to continue on my own, stream on my own. I don't need no stinking conglomerate or corporate company. I can do it myself. I said, who do you want me to bring with you? All of you, every one of my regular scheduled guests got named as please bring Laura Carno. Please make sure that Doug Giles is here. Please make sure that all these guests come along. But I think most of the folks said we love Jay Ratliff, the aviation and travel guy. So Jay Ratliff has graciously agreed to appear with me every Thursday morning. He's become a friend through the years. And so that's coming up 1 hour from right now. If you're not familiar with Jay Ratliff, I'm sorry. By the way, Instagram, if you're watching on the Instagram's not our strongest platform. Instagram's not a lot. People don't go there to watch, an hour video or something, but we do get a few people pop in and out of the Instagram room. Not a lot, to be quite honest, but we stay out there just so the hipsters know we exist and that they can find us elsewhere. But Instagram, if you're watching on Instagram, and you want to see Jay Ratliff, you're not going to get to. You know why? Instagram has begun limiting their live streams to 1 hour. So exactly 60 minutes from the time that this show started and went live, they're going to cut us off on Instagram. So Instagram, if you're watching there and you want to see Jay Ratliff, aviation and travel expert, you're going to have to know where where the exits are nearest to you. Maybe behind you, maybe in front of you. It's like an airline. It could be, you don't know where it's at, but you got to find the exit row. In other words, you have to find your alternative. And it could be go over to the YouTube, could be go over to the Rumble. Good morning, Rumble. How are you? Everybody on Rumble doing well? I haven't checked in on the Rumble feed in a while. I need to start doing that and make sure they're behaving in the Rumble room. And wherever you're listening to the program, you can send us a comment or an email. If you send us a Facebook comment, you see just a moment ago, I believe that was Arloa that popped up on the bottom of my screen from the great state of Texas, the motherland. Arloa tunes in every week. And so anyway, find the place. And by the way, if you're on the Instagram and you can't switch immediately at 9 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Mountain, 11 o'clock Eastern to another platform, never forget that if you do miss Jay Ratliff or any portion of this program, within mere moments of when this show wraps up and I say, God bless you, God bless America, Jimmy Lakey, peace, I'm out of here. The moment that I say that, just a moment, as soon as that happens, producer Chad, he puts on his hard hat and his safety vest, and he goes hard at work to get all of this, the whole show loaded up onto the podcast platforms, iHeartMedia, Spotify, Apple Podcast. I mean, he's a worker bee. He looks like a village person when he does it. He could sing YMCA, but he's working hard with the hard hat and the safety vest. The trouble is, the image of that, he has nothing else on except the hard hat and the safety vest. So It's quite disturbing from the waist down. Hell, it's quite disturbing from the neck down. But I just want to put that image in your head that about 9:15 Mountain Time today, 11:15, that's how you will find producer Chad in a state of construction work, loading up to the podcast platforms. And you're welcome for that image that has now polluted your dinner or your breakfast or whatever you're having right now. Your Pop-Tart no longer tastes as good. By the way, speaking of Pop-Tarts, I'm going to jump ahead on the schedule. I'm a big fan of RFK Jr., always have been. I remember telling I had a crazy-ass producer with the iHeart Kingdom, and it wasn't my job to hire him. The bosses hired producers. Anyway, I was trying to tell the producer, I said, you guys, he's a mad crap crazy liberal. Not just liberal dissent, but he like crazy. Like sometimes you felt threatened. So I told him, I said, you guys would be better as Democrats than RFK Jr. No, Joe Biden's in perfect health. Joe Biden has all of his cognitive ability. We're going to stick with Joe because these people are cult followers and capable of independent thinking. And so this person was going to stick with Joe Biden. I wonder how many Democrats, if there are any reasonable ones left in the party, because now, remember, they're all kvetching. We shouldn't have let Joe Biden run. We shouldn't have let Joe Biden do this. We shouldn't have had Kamala. Well, are any of you taking ownership for that you had options? You had Dean Phillips from Minnesota. You had RFK Jr. who was running. They had the cojones to challenge demented poopy pants Joe Biden. And so all these people out there acting like we just should have had a primary. You did, and you rejected the people in the primary. There's not a Democrat out there that went along with the assignment and the assertion and the ascension of Kamala Harris who said, yeah, she's our girl. All of you are disingenuous fools, and you should be ashamed of yourself and stop selling books, buying books by Jake Tapper. You went along with the ruse. You signed up, and you bought your Kamala shirt, and you got your Kamala tattoo, and you didn't think that the cackles mattered at all. And you're bitching and kvetching now, saying that you wish you would have had a primary. Well, you shouldn't have treated RFK Jr. the way you did. You shouldn't have treated Dean Phillips from Minnesota the way you did. Every damn one of you that was fine and did not protest that Kamala got appointed and anointed rather than having to win a primary because she's incompetent. She couldn't have won a primary, never has won a primary. All of you who are kvetching that you should have had an open primary, you went along with it. You're intellectually bankrupt people, and RFK Jr. has switched teams, and we're glad he's on our team now. Very happy. That being said, always been a big fan. I interviewed him one time. He was in Colorado down the state capitol several years ago when the state legislature here was going to put some very strict restrictions and force parental rights on vaccinations. And I'm all for a pro-choice when it comes to vaccinations. If you're a parent and you feel that you need to make a decision other than the 78 billion cocktails of vaccinations that they want to put in your kid's arm before they go to first grade, second grade, third grade, or right after they slide down the birth canal, I'll start sticking them with needles. If you have a different opinion, then you're allowed to have that. I believe that. I just truly believe that. By the way, I did see a meme a couple of days ago on this very topic, and I'm off schedule here. Producer Chad's going, where the hell's he at right now? I did see a meme the other day that, remember as a parent, they grew up and they said, be very careful introducing them to multiple foods, one food at a time, maybe gradually give them a little piece of this, gradually. You can't introduce them to too many things at one time. You got to pace yourself. But the same doctor that tells you that also says, hey, we got little Johnny there, and we're going to stick him with a needle, and it's got 14 different vaccinations and to save you trips to the life. It's like, how can you introduce that many pharmaceuticals in the kid's body at one time, but I'm not supposed to switch him to certain foods or have to take my time on that? Makes no sense. But again, a lot of the modern medicine and instructions from the doctors and medical community make no sense. Big fan of RFK Jr. Because he came on the program and we disagreed on environmental stuff, but that wasn't the point. He came to Colorado, where I was broadcasting from at the time, and he was standing up with parents, a lot of homeschool parents who politically disagreed with him, but he was standing up saying, hey, parents ought to have a right to choose what they're going to ingest, allow their children to have ingested into their body. Democrats are all about taking away parental rights. Your kid wants to have a pronoun of some weird or change their name. That should be the child and the school's right to do that. You want to make sure that your child only has certain of the jabs before they go to school. It should be a parent's right to decide that. But Democrats always want to take that right away. And you don't know whether they hate parents or whether they just love the donations from Big Pharma. I don't know which it is. Maybe they just hate parents. Maybe they hate the family model that mom and dad are in charge, and you've given birth to kids and they're your offspring. Maybe they hate that because that's kind of a biblical thing, I guess, or they just like the donations they get from the big pharmaceutical companies. Not exactly sure, but they always seem to side anywhere except on the side of personal choice and freedom when it comes to parenting your child. Well, yesterday, RFK Jr. was up at a hearing for Health and Human Services, and it being in the Health and Human Services hearing, the Democrats, because he's now sided with Donald Trump, even though they were foolish to not allow him to be their nominee, and I said he would have been a very compelling nominee for the Democrats for a lot of independents. I think that he would have gotten a lot of traction and might have given Trump fits. I believe that. I really believe that RFK Jr. could have been a formidable competitor as a Democrat, more formidable than that battle-axe Kamala Harris and the poopy pants Joe Biden would have ever been. But the Democrats, because they're intellectually and bankrupt, they couldn't think outside of their cult and couldn't think outside of the box and say, maybe we should have RFK Jr. We agree with him on most every other topic, environmental and all that. We agree with him. Maybe not with the military-industrial complex. He's also a guy that's not wanting to go start wars, but they would have had a lot of agreements, but they didn't. They kicked him to the curb, treated him bad. Now he's on our side. So he goes to a hearing, and the Democrats, rather than acknowledge, hey, he's just wanting to make kids healthy again. He's not talking about Ukraine and Russia. He's not talking about Hamas and anti-Semitism that the Democrats seem to embody in their party. RFK Jr. is just talking about making kids healthy out there, just trying to make them healthy. But Democrats can't have any of that. They cannot come together and say, oh, that's wonderful. We're going to make kids healthy. Matter of fact, Democrats for years have talked about prices on pharmaceuticals. Donald Trump signs an executive order and says, hey, we're going to have most favored nation status with the pharmaceuticals ourselves in our country. Even Republicans are offering some criticism sometimes, saying you're letting the market do it, not by federal edict or by executive edict. Rand Paul's a big critic of that executive action that happens, says it's not libertarian enough for him. So you would think that would have been an executive order on the pharmaceutical prices, that the Democrats and Bernie Sanders could have jumped in and said, hey, we like this, but they can't. They absolutely are so hell-bent on hatred of Donald J. Trump that even if he takes one of their policies and makes it their own, they can't support it. Even if he's doing the exact same thing that Barry Hussein Obama, their Lord and Savior, did when it comes to deportation, they can't support it because it's Donald J. Trump. They're so deranged and mentally bankrupt that they cannot support anything Donald J. Trump does. So I want you to watch this exchange with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Patty Murray, a bat crap crazy weird woman from Oregon or Washington, somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. She's a U.S. senator. And there's a couple of other senators, and it's a oversight hearing for Health and Human Services. And rather than acknowledging that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has done some things that Democrats normally say they're for, Democrats normally would say, I'm all for this. They can't say it because he's on Team Trump. And again, they're partisan hacks and intellectually bankrupt people, the modern day Democrat Party. Robert F. Kennedy is doing things that the Democrats have campaigned on. Bernie Sanders has campaigned about taking action to lower pharmaceutical prices. Donald Trump doesn't, and Bernie Sanders doesn't know what to do. All he can do is scream the word oligarchs, the oligarchs. So these people are intellectually disingenuous, and I want you to watch this exchange, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was not going to have any of it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stood firm, stood tall, puffed his chest out there, and he stood up and gave them facts. Just the facts, ma'am. Democrats not usually encouraged by facts. They just wanted to make it about Donald Trump and the administration. And they were talking about, and this is another thing. I remember I talked about those donations from big pharmaceuticals. So you had these Democrats on this hearing talking about, we have the gold standard of medicine in this country. And we seem to think we do. If you've traveled anywhere, my friends, we have some good points about our medical system and insurance, et cetera. People come from Canada down here because you may die before you get your heart surgery waiting in Canada or Europe. But there's a lot of bad parts of our health system as well. And part of that is the things that we allow food companies, drug companies to get by with, and the FDA has approved them for all these years. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., watch the video. This is a long setup, but this is the video. Him standing up, and you'll hear him talking about red dyes. You guys have been campaigning on red dyes. Give me some credit. I did it. You guys just campaign and flap your lips for 20 years. I actually got this done, you old jackass. That's what he wanted to say. He didn't say jackass, but I think he wanted to, maybe even something else. But he also talked about the gold standard of health in America, and he brings it into perspective. It's like, hey, maybe we're not as healthy as we claim to be. Watch this exchange. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. taking a page out of the Trump administration playbook and not going to let these long in the tooth career politicians that have accomplished nothing in their lives, nothing in their term in the U.S. Senate except being obstructionist idiots. Watch him, give them what for, and I like it. Go RFK Jr., go.
88% of our youth now are diabetic or pre-diabetic. That was zero when I was a kid. Anybody thinks that we did gold standard medicine in this country from these institutions, look at our children. They're the sickest children in the world. Congressman DeLauro, you say that you've worked for 20 years on getting food dye out. Give me credit. I got it out in 100 days. All right, so let's work together and do something that we all believe in, which is have healthy kids in our country, for God's sake. There's no such thing as Republican children and Democratic children.
There he is, giving it to him. And he calls out this congresswoman and says, hey, you idiot, you're flapping your lips up there saying you've been working to get red dyes out for 20 years. 20 years I've been working on this. And you couldn't accomplish it? You should resign in disgrace, you idiot. Did you ever sponsor legislation for it? What did you do? You said you've been working on this 20 years. And can you imagine this person goes back to their district every year? Send me back to Washington, D.C. because I got to work on this. Isn't that every political campaign? Our health care is broken. Send me to D.C. Well, you've been there 10 years and you haven't fixed it. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, John Hickenlooper, Michael Bennett, you get them. They all come back every 2 years or for 6 years with the same campaign mantra, send me to D.C., we've got problems. And I'm like, we've been sending you to D.C. and you haven't fixed any problems. And here's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. calling out this no-name career politician saying, you say you've been working on this 20 years? Then what a failure you are that it took 20 years and I had to do it in 100 days. I guess it shows that you're incompetent, or shows when you want a job done right, you call the man in. Somebody that's sexist might say that. I wouldn't say that. You get the idea. I just think it's a fantastic response by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I ain't going to put up with it and stop pretending that we have the gold standard in medicine. All right, that was fun. I'm totally off track. I didn't get to any of my top stories yet. President Trump is in Abu Dhabi this morning, which is United Arab Emirates. And it has been Oh, good morning, Chancellor Lakey. Thank you. I appreciate that. Scott says that, I believe, checking in from Wyoming. The check-ins are coming across the screen in the modern day chat room. If you're on Facebook, I see Rich says good morning from Missouri. Carol says good morning. I don't know where she's at, but Carol, good morning to you. Heidi ho. Let's see. You got a good morning from the stormy River Valley, Arkansas. Going to be a storm. Good morning. Sorry, it's my computer with the screen on that's far, far away, and we're cheap and we haven't bought a television stand to put a big monitor up. So you're far away. Anyway, Arkansas. Good morning. Nice to have Arkansas checking in as well. Hello, Colorado. Hello, Arkansas. Hello, Missouri. I know Texas is represented out there. Any state not yet given a shout out, let us know where you're listening from, watching from. Put it in the chat room on the Facebook, on the Rumble, on the YouTube. All of it appears right here into the studio, and we would love to shout out to your state and or your city. We'd love to say hi to you wherever you're listening. Oh, Carol's in Richmond, Virginia. Hello, Richmond. Nice to have somebody in Richmond, Virginia. I don't think I've ever been to Richmond, Virginia. Carol, convince me. Why should I go to Richmond, Virginia? One of the things you can convince producer Chad on are there great cigar bars in Richmond, Virginia. What's in Richmond, Virginia? I've heard of it. I know someone that lived there, but I don't think I've ever been there. Richmond. I've been to other places in Virginia, but not Richmond. I don't think. I have to look at I've traveled a lot in my life, especially in the music industry. So maybe we woke up one morning in Richmond. Not quite sure. Carol, good morning. Glad to have you tuned in. All right, wherever you're at, let us hear from you. And we always love to hear what state and or city you're from. And also feel free to give a tourist plug, because you never know when producer Chad and I get a wild whim and we want to take a road trip, and maybe we show up in a city probably near you, unless producer Chad has that restraining order again, and then we have to skip those cities. When that happens, it's like, damn it, we had a whole trip planned out, producer Chad. I've got a restraining order there. Oh, shoot, he can't do it. And, it's usually reflecting back to when he puts on the safety vest and the hard hat with no pants on. And suddenly we get restraining orders everywhere. I mean, it's shocking what happens with producer Chad sometimes. And there might have been some whiskey involved. I'm just throwing that out there. I ain't judging, though. I ain't judging. All right. Good to have it. I'm putting that image back in your head, and I apologize for that. I really do. All right. I got a question of the day for you. Fun question of the day here if you're watching us live. Oh, yeah. I'll get back. Trump's historic tour. He's in Abu Dhabi. It's been amazing. Producer Jazz like flashing things on the screen like, hey, jackass, get back on schedule. Okay. Yes, Daddy. He's in Abu Dhabi. I've just found this amazing. The hero's welcome he's getting. Qatar is the place where we have the largest military installation in all of the Middle East. They questionable on their human rights. I understand that. But Qatar allows us not only to have a military base there, but they have put almost $1 trillion of improvement out of their pockets into our military base. I think it's $800 to $900 billion. So nearing $1 trillion that they spend to allow our U.S. military to have a presence in the region. And there has never, ever, ever been a U.S. president that has visited Qatar. And so day one, when he went to Saudi Arabia, you had the horses, the Arabian horses walking down with the beast, the presidential limo, which I thought was really cool. And these people holding up American and Saudi Arabian flags. I thought that was just very cool and respectful of Americans, showing, hey, we want partnership with you. When the Crown Prince of Bel Air or Saudi Arabia, I forgot what his title was, when he shows up at the airport to greet you, remember, Joe Biden could barely get a fist bump out of the guy. They went all out for Donald J. Trump. World leadership is there. He goes to Qatar, and they didn't have the horses going by the beast. They had camels. I loved it. The camels, American flags everywhere in the Middle East. When you fly Old Glory, when you fly the American flag, I'm like, okay, this is a good visit. And just the respect that he's getting, billions, literally they're talking billions of dollars that we know of, deals and investments that he's been signing. You see him at the table signing stuff. These are all business deals. The president of Boeing was there. One of the largest orders ever has gone to Boeing because of this trip. I think it's from Qatar or UAE. It's like going to revolutionize Boeing. They estimate that so far what is known of the bills that Donald Trump has signed, or the agreements that he has signed over there, a lot of them are business arrangements, and they estimate that over 120,000 jobs just from the Boeing contracts alone are going to be created here in America. I mean, it's a really economic stimulus tour that's happening over there. And then I was listening to some analysis and reading some analysis about how this really, if the Middle East is in odds with America, then they tend to kind of gravitate towards China and Russia. And this pulls people out of the loyalty to the former Soviets and Putin. This takes people away from Kim Jong-un or the Koreans are partnering any kind of oil there, and China, Ping, Z, all these people. It's really amazing. Kind of the political strategy, not just the economic strategy. And the economic strategy, the numbers are in the billions and hundreds of thousands of jobs. That's the economic strategy, but the political strategy behind it and the partnerships being formed are quite powerful. It's interesting, and we'll see how it plays out. And now he's at the United Arab Emirates, which is Abu Dhabi, and he is there. Got some friends that live there, and they have invited me to come see their place in Abu Dhabi. Said it's a beautiful place. Said it's hot, but it's beautiful. Never been. So anyway, the history. This is the final stop on the tour. I just find it amazing that President Trump is back. You know, the last time the Qatar Air Force and the Saudi Arabian Air Force sent up escorts to escort Air Force One into their airspace and land there. They got military escorts, just kind of a symbolic thing of respect that we're going to make sure the president of the United States gets here safely. It's amazing. You know, the last U.S. president I was reading, and I believe this is truth. The last U.S. president that the world actually, when he would show up into town and a foreign Air Force would join Air Force One as kind of a parade and an escort to descend into the final descent, was Ronald Wilson Reagan. Ronald Reagan had countries that when he would fly in to visit them, they would oftentimes send their Air Force up. So don't let this stuff just kind of fly by you that, hey, the Saudi Arabians put some F-16 or whatever they put up there flying next to the president. This is a big deal. And it hasn't happened because this is kind of the utmost respect that a country can show you. And it just shows that President Trump has brought America back to a place of prominence and respect on the global stage, and good for President Trump. I saw those military escorts and I thought they were cool, but I didn't realize how impactful they were. All right, people still checking in from cities. Carol, I asked her what was in Richmond, Virginia in the chat room. She says, lots of history here. Mountains that were taken down by stupid people wanting to take the history, the past history away. We're going to go there. I like history. She says, we also have art, history, and wineries. If you would have said distilleries, we might have been there like tomorrow. Producer Chad and I may just stop the show and head out there right now. Good. I'm just kidding, Carol. I got to check out Richmond. It sounds like a lovely place. Jim says, good morning from Rapid City, South Dakota. Finally in a hotel with a Wi-Fi this week, good enough to do your live stream. Well, Jim, I'm glad. And by the way, if you don't have the Wi-Fi to do the live stream of the video, don't forget to go to all of the podcast platforms that you listen to podcasts and audiobooks on. Go there and just look up Jimmy Lakey Unleashed and subscribe to this, and it will always pop in. Every day that we do a show or an interview, it will pop in and you'll get a notification that Lakey has done something, and then you don't have to take up the bandwidth, because those podcast platforms are audio and they work. Many people listen to them in their cars and their trucks, etc. So don't forget, Jim, if you can't watch the Wi-Fi from your hotel room, watch the show from your hotel room because of crappy Wi-Fi, don't forget that all the podcast platforms have the show now, and it goes up right after the program ends. It goes up on podcast. So that means Spotify, iTunes. Well, by the way, producer Chad checked the numbers, and they're kicking ass. He said top 25% percentile as far as where podcasts would fall. That's where our download rate is at right now. That's why we moved the Patreon and went out there and launched everything for free, not going for the quick buck on the Patreon, but the long-term play of getting the word out there. So thank you. If you haven't subscribed on any of the podcast platforms, please do, and you'll get a notification every day when you subscribe. Like it, subscribe it. That helps us, and we appreciate it. We got great numbers, and that's just and podcasting strange. We know how many downloads we get every day, and it's an unbelievable amount of downloads of people automatically wanting to hear the show, listening to the show. And then there's people that just stream it. We don't even know about those. I mean, it's fantastic. Like, subscribe, we appreciate it. Craig jumps in on the YouTube. He makes a comment from the chat room, listening in Whitefish, Montana. Montana's a beautiful state, but I'm going to tell you, I've only been to two cities in Montana. We did a concert, one or two in, I think it was Bozeman or Billings. I don't remember. I was doing concert promotion, and we had a 5-city tour. I bought 5 spots on the tour, and Montana was one of them. And we were up there, it was fun. It was a fun town. But I was there for like 48 hours, and I didn't get to see much of it. Ate at the Outback Steakhouse. I remember that. I don't know why I remember it. Yeah, it was Outback. It wasn't the Texas Roadhouse. Maybe it was the Texas Roadhouse. I had my crew. I had my my assistant was with me, and my concert crew was with me. This has been a decade, 15 years ago. I went to Montana once. We drove there from Denver. That was a beautiful drive. I guess I slept most of it. I was being chauffeured. Craig, anyway, welcome. Glad to have you in Whitefish, Montana. I always love to hear where people find us and how you find us. And some people I know used to listen to me on the radio, and they moved away and they kept in touch. And then there's other people that just kind of find us. They stumble across us in drunken stupors, and here we are. Always a pleasure to have that. Got a question of the day for you. What do you do in the summer? Do you go to concerts? I mentioned the concert industry. I have not been to a concert in a long time. Not that I don't love music. I love great music, but having been in the concert world, I got a little spoiled. I was the concert promoter. It used to be, this concert presented by Jimmy Lakey, this concert presented by Lakey Entertainment. And so we built the Lakey Entertainment Towers. It was a great business, wonderful business. The business model changed, and I kind of closed up the concert promotion portion of the business and got into the artist management portion of the business. So it still kind of dabble my feet into the music industry and know it well. And I've done shows, if you're in Colorado, you'll know the old Pepsi Center, now Ball Arena. We've done shows at a lot of arena shows. We've done big shows, small shows, church shows, mostly focused on family and Christian entertainment, all ages shows. And so I was one of the top promoters in the Christian industry for a period of time. I'm not out, and the two main guys, three main guys. I still know them, but anyway, it's a fun industry. But I got spoiled because when you can always be backstage and you don't have to sit there in a seat and wait in line, and you have the all access pass because you created the all access pass. It's fun. You have the catering room where the bands and the artists are eating their dinner or lunch, and you're there. And my son was a little tyke at the time. I'd carry him back there, and we'd have my son going to a concert is going to be very, very, very spoiled the rest of his life because we experienced the backstage life because that was the business concert promotion that the Lakey Entertainment Fund and the Lakey Entertainment Towers. Well, Live Nation has made an announcement. I think this is a very interesting announcement for concert goers, and it's going to lead up to our question of the day, which then will take us to our first guest, not related. Here we go. Live Nation, one of the big gurus. I partnered with them many times in concerts when they were just starting to do the Christian All Ages show that partnered with me to help them promote, or I'd use one of their venues. Live Nation's launching into the promotion this summer. There's, if you go to a concert, you know that a lot of times it's a lot of money, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, even for a crap seat. Well, for about 1,000 concerts this summer, Live Nation is going to sell $30 tickets. It's a ticket concert promotion. It's called Ticket to Summer, the $30 ticket to summer. Last year, it was $25. Not sure why, but they've lowered it. Maybe tariffs have gone up, and now it's $30. Over 100 concerts will be available to choose from. Avril Lavigne, Billy Idol, Cyndi Lauper, Halsey, The Offspring, Rod Stewart, Styx, Toto, Weird Al Yankovic, just some of those that are going to have $30 tickets available. The $30 tickets, I'm sure the whole venue won't be 30. There'll be a handful of tickets in the nosebleed section somewhere. But the tickets will go on sale 1 week from yesterday, the 21st of Wednesday of the month of May. If you have T-Mobile or Rakuten, you can sign up early and have the access the day before for the $30 tickets. It's go to livenation.com. So if you're a concert goer and you say, I'd like to go, but they're too expensive, you might go to livenation.com and find out how do you get a $30 ticket to about 1,000 shows this summer. That being said, question of the day before we go to our guest is, what was the last concert you went to? Producer Chad and I were talking before the show, and I don't remember the last show I went to because I don't go to shows. I promoted hundreds of shows. I think we promoted through Lakey Entertainment Group. And of course, I attended all those. I think the last one I attended, let me hit the cough button here because it's video and not audio. I'm telling you, these spring allergies are still getting me a little bit. I think it was it was the AEG or Live Nation. I partnered with them. And the only one I remember, it was a John Mayer and the John Mayer Trio. So John Mayer is different, and then he had the trio, and I liked it. And I remember reaching out to either my friends at Live Nation or AEG and said, hey, I missed the Denver show. I couldn't go, or they didn't come to Denver. Do you have any tickets I'd like to do? They said, what do you want to see? And I said, Vegas. And they said, we got some tickets. So I think that might, but this is like a decade ago. I don't think I've been to a concert in a long time. I could be wrong because I've had a lot of concerts in my life. But what was the last concert you went to? And who was it? And tell us the detail. Kevin jumps in here on looks like the YouTube signal. He says he saw Dierks Bentley at Red Rocks last August. I've seen one show at Red Rocks in my life. I live in Colorado, right? And I used to live real close to Red Rocks when I first moved here. And I've seen one show. I think it was, who did we see? Counting Crows? I think it was Counting Crows at Red Rocks. That was a fun show. Enjoyed it. I just don't like the crowds. I don't like waiting in line for all the concerts because I was in the business and I had access to everything. And now you have to wait out there with the riffraff. I mean, not that you guys are riffraff, but I'm telling you. There's your question of the day. Live Nation's making $30 tickets available to the 1,000 shows this summer. Go to livenation.com. And I just ask you, what shows is it that you have that you last attended? Dierks Bentley is the first one up. Chat on all the platforms that you're in. Jump into it. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, let me go to my first guest here of the morning, and I appreciate him jumping in here, waiting patiently while I continue to proliferate and pontificate. His name is Pastor Dave. Pastor Dave Scarlett is my guest, and he joins me in the green room, and I'll let him introduce himself. He's been with us before, but Pastor Dave, welcome back to the show, sir. How are you?
Hey, Jimmy, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
For those of you, by the way, Obnoxious Scott says the last concert he went to was in 1974, and he saw Grand Funk Railroad. I'm not sure why last concert you went to 74, that's a long time ago. Pastor Dave, you've gone to any concerts recently, or you're a concert goer?
No, I was wait before you brought me on in the green room. I was kind of thinking, when is the last time I've been to a concert? I'm like you. I can't recall. I used to go to a lot of concerts in the day, but it's been a long time. I don't have time.
Yeah, that's me. I don't have time. And I don't know if you heard the whole proliferation there, but I built the Lakey Entertainment Towers because I was a prolific concert promoter, one of the top 3-4 Christian concert promoters in the nation. And so we bought up entire tours of concerts, and I got out of that business when AG Live Nation kind of got in there. We partnered, and then I said, I'm out. But I was doing concerts, and now I have to go wait in line and like get popcorn and drinks. I had a green room. It was my green room. I paid for it. So it's just a different experience. I'm like, it's not as fun when you're not in the center of the action. So I just don't go.
I hear you.
Yeah. All right, Pastor Dave, tell everybody about you. All for His Glory is the name of a book you've written, The Near-Death Experience of a Modern Day Job. Give the plug up front, and then we'll dive into a couple of topics of the day.
Yeah, it's just a basic story of how I was a Marine, served our country as a Marine, rose the ranks of the corporate world, had everything. That's when I was actually going.
Oh, Pastor Dave has
until on 777. I died.
You froze up. You froze up, and so you were in the Marines, and then you just went dead. And pick up from there. You're in the Marines, and boom, go.
Yeah, in the Marines, and then I rose the ranks of the corporate world and had the best of the best. It's all many concerts and entertainment, and it was living for the world. And the Lord took me out on 777. I got botulism toxin. Died 3 times, went to heaven, experienced heaven, saw the glory of heaven. He sent me back because my report card was not full. And he says, you're going to start a ministry by my name. And that's how we started the ministry, His Glory. And now we reach 25 million people in every country of the world.
All right, everybody's going to ask you if I don't ask you, and I'm sure it's in the books, and people can listen to the whole story. You went to heaven. What did you see in heaven?
I saw beauty. I saw absolute things that we don't see on this earth, just dimensions and beauty and peace and just this shalom, this love of the Lord. And I was hearing music that never heard on earth. It would be the best concert we've ever heard in our lives because it's not from earth. And then he showed me these beautiful mahogany pictures of my life that were never taken on earth. And he later showed me in those pictures, heaven is perfect. There was no sin in those pictures, but there's nothing I did for his purpose in there. And so my report card was empty. So he sent me back to start a ministry to reach 1 billion souls. And that's what our goal at His Glory is to reach 1 billion souls in all the 7 mountains.
Now, were you familiar with Christianity before this moment? Had you been one of those people that had known the gospel early and walked away, or is this was just kind of brand new? It's like, oh, heaven! I heard about this place, but I didn't even really know.
No, I was a 911 Christian. My mother raised me in the church. She was very prophetic, but I turned away. I thought, I could do it myself in the corporate world, and I was very successful in the corporate world. And then I had a horrible marriage situation that the Lord literally brought me to my knees, and I started seeking Him in the Bible. And if I wouldn't have sought Him, I don't believe I would have made it to heaven. So there's a lot of people out there that think they're saved and they're not. I was one of them.
You saw photos, mahogany frames of you, and it wasn't like snapshots of paparazzi of all the naughty things you've done, because heaven's perfect and they don't show those images in heaven. But hey, Dave, this is a good picture of you, but this is not for my glory. And that kind of changed you and said, I got to live differently.
You froze.
There you are. I think you're back.
We're back.
Yeah. So you saw the photos, and you kind of got him. That was not for me. That was for you. And you got to do better, Dave. Go back.
Yeah, just in a loving way. He gave me the choice, but he sent me back. And then the second time, I actually literally flatlined and died 3 times. The second time, they had all the Cleveland Clinic doctors waiting to see what would happen when they pulled me off the breathing tube. And immediately it went bad, and I floated above the doctors. There was 30 doctors in the room. And I remember seeing their face. They're panicking, come back, as the machines were beeping. And I just had this, again, unconditional feeling of love, peace, and joy. And I said, Lord, why are they panicking? I feel perfectly fine. And he says, I got you, my son. I'm bringing you back to start a ministry called by my name. It's actually the Hebrew word kavod, which is in all through the Old Testament, literally meaning His glory.
All right. The name of the book, we'll talk more about it. We'll remind people at the end of the interview that they can pick it up. It's called All for His Glory, the Near-Death Experience of a Modern-Day Job. Also, the chairman and the founder of the His Glory Ministry, a Christian outreach creator of a film called Battle at the Border. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. But let's talk about the border because you're passionate about it. You made a film about it. President Trump has, they're fighting the courts about deportations and trying to stop him there. President Trump's going from every angle his administration is, and they've recently said, hey, if you're an immigrant here illegally, we'll give you some money, $1,000 or so to leave. We'll buy your airplane ticket. If you deport willingly, then you would have a pathway to apply to come back here legally. But here's $1,000 and a plane ticket. Just let us know, and we'll get your butt out of the country. Give me your thoughts on this new policy to get the people that crossed our border illegally out of our country.
Well, we have more illegals in this country than most people know. You know, J.J. Carroll's been on His Glory several times. He thinks it's more than 30 million illegals in our country. And this is a way just to get it out quicker. It saves the taxpayers dollars because what we saw with Doge on how they were getting paid with hotels and meal tickets and more than most people get on Social Security in this country. So I think this is a step in the right direction so that they can really focus on the worst of the worst. You were talking about Venezuelan gangs and terrorists. That's the one we have to really concern ourselves. And I know Tom Homan and Pete Hegseth are really focused on these terror cells.
Some people say, Pastor Dave, you're a pastor. How could you be so uncompassionate that you want to deport these poor immigrants back across the border? They've come here for a better life. It's cruel. It's unusual, Pastor Dave. Give me your thoughts on that. I'm sure you've heard it.
I have. I've heard people using the Bible out of context too. In the law of Moses, it says that the illegals can come into the land of the Israelites as long as they obey the laws and they worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's all we're asking, to go through the legal process. But I've been at the border. I've seen the corruption there. We see that 60% of the children coming across the border with the adults are not related. This is about trafficking. This is human trafficking. There's fentanyl. There's terrorists coming into our, as I said earlier, cell sites. So this is not about taking care of humans like the South Africa situation. A whole different story.
There's a story that happened last week, and I keep it on my show sheet every week for the last 2 weeks. Producer Chad sees it on there every week because it's on my list of topics I want to get to. And I don't hit it every day, but it's a reminder. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testified a week ago or so that the Biden administration has been, quote, a collaborator in child trafficking, sex, and slavery. And the Border Patrol was picking kids up at the border and was releasing them over to HHS was picking them up, or the Border Patrol picking them up, hand them over to HHS, and they were put over to sponsoring families. And turns out that we have 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration. And HHS, the department that Kennedy now leads, says that they were a collaborator in child trafficking and sex slavery under the Biden administration. He says, we have ended that, and we're going to go find these children. Imagine that, Pastor Dave, 300,000 missing children. And Robert F. Kennedy says they're missing because the government let them come across the border illegally, put them into custody of families that they've lost track of. And many of them are probably being abused, trafficked, sex workers right now.
Yeah, that number is probably significantly higher than that, and it just breaks your heart to stand up for those children. Like I said earlier, that 60% of these children coming across the border that we witnessed, put on film, and at Battle at the Border, that were not related to the adults coming in. That's the first thing that Joe Biden did when he took over from President Trump, is eliminate the DNA, because then you can't match it up to the right people. And this was done intentionally. And it is absolutely disgusting. We were in an NGO where they bragged about it on camera, stating that they were getting money from the federal government. Usually it takes 60 days for the federal government to cut you a check. They were wiring money to these NGOs and then trafficking humans and specifically children all over the United States. And then they didn't know what happened to them.
I just found that testimony of Kennedy said in a cabinet meeting that this was happening, and he told President Trump at that cabinet meeting 2 weeks ago, said, hey, we've stopped it, but HHS was complicit in trafficking and sex trafficking. And I don't think it got much coverage in the news. You would think, Dave, that it would be immediately, there would be congressional hearings. You would think that they would be bringing the HHS secretary, the previous HHS secretary. You would think they would really be bringing people in, but I haven't heard nary a thing since the day after the cabinet meeting. No one's talking about this admission by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of what was happening in our government. Even Congress does not seem to be that interested in it.
Well, this is not about Republican and Democrat. This is about good and evil, and this is pure evil. If you touch God's children and traffic them the way we're doing, till President Trump has stopped that, that's what it's all about. Good versus evil. This is not partisanship. We have to stand up for the children. If we don't stand up for the children, what can we stand up for?
Yeah. It's fascinating that Dave Scarlett is my guest. His latest book is called All for His Glory, the Near-Death Experience of a Modern-Day Job. It's his own memoir, his own telling of his own story, and also the film Battle at the Border. The Battle of the Border is a fascinating topic as well, and he will talk about all the experiences at the border he's talked about. You mentioned this is not a partisan issue. Unfortunately, it seems to be a partisan issue, and now you have judges trying to block the behaviors, judges trying to block the behaviors of the Trump administration. You have Democrats squealing to high heaven, going to El Salvador to defend a guy that's accused of domestic violence, at the very least, a gangbanger. It's very strange how people are trying to stop the Trump administration from just making America safe and getting rid of the worst of the worst.
Well, they know what's coming, and that's why you follow the money. Their biggest concern was Doge, and this is not over yet. It's going to see the trail come back. We see how these NGOs were paid off by Joe Biden to human traffic, but we're going to see a lot more, and that's why they're very, very nervous about where this money trail is going to end up at.
We're talking about that child trafficking saga that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said has stopped. Do you see, or are you hearing about any kind of prosecutions that might happen if we were prolific in that and collaborating with that? Is there any legal culpability that our government or some employees or department heads might have if they were doing this?
I'm told there is. I'm told that they're through Kash Patel, which I know well, and Pam Bondi, they are pursuing this crimes against humanity and trafficking, and they're building cases right now. Again, the money trail is going to go back, and that's why whoever squeals the loudest usually has the most to hide.
Yeah. Dave Scarlett is my guest. Glad to have him here on the program. The name of your book is, again, All for His Glory, the Near-Death Experience of a Modern-Day Job. Chairman of His Glory Ministries, Chairman of Christian Outreach, and also the creator of a film, Battle at the Border. Real quick, one more time, talk about the book, talk about the film. And we should have played the trailer. I totally spaced playing the trailer. We didn't download that. But give us the tease here about the border film, and also your book, and where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find us at www.hisglory.me and www.hisglory.tv. The Battle at the Border is going to show you the truth. You know, the fake news is lied about this. They're continuing to lie about what really happened under Biden and why President Trump had to put a stop to that. You're going to see the truth live. I spent time with Sheriff Daniels and Sheriff Lamb all day, uncovering all this stuff, the NGOs, the trafficking of kids and humans. So it's must see, because it's going to change your perspective of what's going on and why we have to clean up the border and how it's a national security nightmare. And All for His Glory is changing people's lives, you know, how to overcome obstacles in marriage, never give up if you're a parent or a grandparent praying for your prodigal to come. My mom prayed for me for 25 years, and I thought I could do it myself in the corporate world until the Lord humbled me and I had to seek his face. And the answers are not in the world. The answers are in his word.
All for His Glory, the Near-Death Experience of a Modern-Day Job. Also, The Battle of the Border is the film. Give the website if folks want the book, the movie, the trailer, all that stuff. Where do they go?
You can go to hisglory.me and hisglory.tv. You can get them all there.
Hisglory.me or hisglory.tv. Dave Scarlett, I appreciate you hopping on here this morning. Thank you very much. God bless you, my friend. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that, first of all, go to this website, check out the book, check out the movie, and I think you will find it very enlightening and informative. This coming Saturday, 2 days away from now, about 48 hours from now, there will be a transformation happening at the Omni Interlaken Hotel and Resort in Colorado, as they'll be setting up our venue for our casino gala. It ain't real gambling, my friends. It's fake gambling. Okay, so this is not a real live Vegas event, but it's going to feel like Vegas. You're going to get some gift cards, or not gift cards, some chips, and you're going to play. It's just fun. Great way to learn some of the casino games. It's going to be a great night. It's coming up Saturday, and yes, the price of tickets have gone up. And I think today, within probably by 10 o'clock, there'll be no more seats left at the poker table. The casino games are open. We have the best Vegas-style Sinatra singer and entertainer that's in the world. His name is Derek Evilsizer. He'll be with us. It's going to be live music. There's casino games. It's festivities galore. It's going to be great. There's going to be some great food, hors d'oeuvres, heavy hors d'oeuvres is what they call it, and also a cash bar. And it's just going to be a great celebration. I'm going to be there. Producer Chad will be there. My son, River, who we named the whole charity, I named the whole charity after, he's going to be there. And it's just going to be a fun time. We'd love to have you. The price has gone up because final counts have been submitted, but we can squeeze a few more people in. And I'm asking you, well, first of all, let me tease you. This is the Omni Hotel behind me. This was last week. It was rainy and cold in Colorado. And this is what it looked like. Let's roll the tape of me last week, and I'll give you the invite one more time here in just a second. Roll the tape. We at the Omni. Omni is the Omni Interlaken Resort and Hotel in Broomfield, Colorado. And right here on May the 17th, in the building right there in the hotel here, it's our annual casino gala for Rivers Promise. Want you to register. Frank Sinatra's going to be here. Well, it's Derek Evilsizer, but close enough. He looks like Frank Sinatra, sounds like Frank. Cash bar, food's going to be everywhere. It's going to be a fantastic night. Casino games and a poker tournament. RiversPromise.org. Get registered. It's May the 17th. May the 17th. It's one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. We want you here. May 17th. RiversPromise.org. Sign up. It's hard to believe that is just a couple of days away, and soon I'll be talking about our annual golf tournament. I do two charity fundraisers a year for the big ones, public ones. We do some smaller ones, but these are the big public ones that we really promote. And the casino gala, we took last year off due to a venue conflict, so it's kind of starting over, unfortunately for us, because, kickstarting a brand new event. It's an annual event, so make sure you get it on your calendar. We'll be doing it every year, but appreciate you participating. Now, if you cannot attend, again, to riverspromise.org, you can register. A few tickets left. That's it. The price has gone up. But here's what I want you to do. Contemplate and consider. Some of you did this yesterday, and I'm going to remind you that we have a fundraising goal. Now, this is a fundraiser event. Obviously, all the proceeds when you register go to it. But if you can't go because of a conflict, would you make a donation, maybe equivalent to the price of a ticket, and just make that donation to riverspromise.org? Or just make a donation. We're trying, this is all about operations. We feed kids, we send them to school. We have a food shortage and a budget deficit every month because of the cost of global inflation and food cost. And so this helps us overcome that. And I'll tell you, without us, these kids don't eat. I mean that sincerely. Without us, these kids would not be in school. Without us, we're set up in a very kind of remote area, 45 minutes outside of Kigali, Rwanda, in the Kamoni area. It's what it's called. It's very poor. And when I got there, there was literally nothing to see a child with no clothes on. It was pretty rough. And now kids have hopes. They have future. They have clothes. They have shoes. They get 2 meals a day at our school. If we send them to another school because of the grade level we don't have yet, they get meals there. We take care of their family. They get insurance. We've had kids that had what normally would have been deadly diseases, but we have health insurance that gets them to the best hospital in Kigali. So it's fantastic. We're literally saving lives, and that ain't no joke, as Joe Biden said. That ain't no joke. We literally, this is a life-saving ministry, if you will. It's a life-saving operation. And of course, it's all based on our view of Christianity and the love of Christ. That's when we started a school called Legacy Christian Academy, because we believe that there's not just this earth, but the world beyond. And we want to get them equipped for that one as well, as David Scarlett just talked about. But hey, your donation can help us. $30. If you can't make it Friday or Saturday, $30 feeds a kid 2 meals a day for 30 days. It's $1 a day. $65 feeds them the food, also pays for their education, pays for their health insurance, pays for their what we call greatest needs in life. And those are evaluated on a monthly or every other month basis. That if a kid's outgrown his clothes, we get them new clothes. If their family's really suffering, we do that. Again, there's so many ways to splice this up. Maybe you donate the price ticket. Maybe you donate $30, $65, and maybe you can do 650 and do 10 kids for a month. I mean, you get the idea that there's ways to multiply. I throw these options out there because I want one to speak to you. Tuesday marked the 18th anniversary of which I boarded a plane and went to Rwanda for the very first time. I was a chaperone on a missions trip. I did not anticipate that I was just a chaperone of a bunch of college kids, and that's it, 18 years ago. And suddenly my life was transformed, revolutionized by the country of Rwanda. And I figured out that's the day of the Critical Mission podcast, the two most important days of your life, the day you're born, the day you figure out why. And that's when I figured out why. I was like, holy crap-a-moly. I guess I'll be back here sometime. And it was a journey that began. That's what began Rivers Promise. And it was all started about 18 years. The thought of it, or the path towards it, was all started about 18 years ago this past Tuesday. So maybe you want to give $18. Maybe you can give $180 times, that's times 10. You get the idea. Whatever motivates you, whatever number you can get your head around, would you please go to riverspromise.org and make that donation, and know that all those donations are going to go to help our operation expense. And that operation expense is thousands and thousands of dollars every month that we spend on food and nutrition to kids who would not eat. It's also providing education. I've said this when I started Rivers Promise. The education is the ladder that a child can use to climb out of extreme poverty. And prior to our work there, they did not have the ladder. There was no education. Street kids. I was telling somebody yesterday that that a lot of the kids are rescued from the street. They're just street kids. They have nothing else to do. There's nothing to do. They can't go to school. They don't have the funds to go to school. They're starving. They're out begging, pickpocketing. They're doing bad things out there. And we're saving them from that life. And we're doing it one child at a time. And you can help us. $65, $30, I have $18. You get the idea. I'm throwing all these numbers out there. Maybe just give $1,000 and that's whatever you can do. I appreciate it. Arloa says, I have watched how and why you started Rivers Promise. It's a very worthwhile project, and I know it's a heartfelt in your part. Yeah, let me tell you, those two most important days of a person's life, the day they're born, the day you figure out why. I'll tell you, if that ain't my why, I've really messed up the last 18 years. 18 years ago Tuesday, I boarded that flight for the first time, just leading a missions trip to Rwanda. That's all I was doing, just leading a little missions trip. A bunch of college kids. I was a chaperone, one of the chaperones. And sure enough, 18 years later, I'm still doing work there. And those kids have all no longer college kids, married, have children. And they've never been back to Africa. I've been back dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Never knew it, though, when I boarded that plane 18 years ago Tuesday, of how that trip would really shape the next 18 years of my life. All right, one more. I'm going to go to my guest here, our guest. You all know him, Jay Ratliff, aviation travel expert. We have a question of the day, though, and that QOD is, listen, Live Nation says for about 1,000 concerts this summer, they're going to have a group of $30 tickets. $30 tickets at the at Live Nation concerts. Go to livenation.com to learn about it. So the question of the day is, when is it that you, what was the last concert you went to? Facebook, Arloa jumps in here, says, so we saw Jason Aldean at the Ball Arena with our son. That's in Denver. Saw that. Grand Funk Railroad. Scott hasn't been to a concert since 1974. Dirks Bentley, Red Rocks, that's where Kevin went last. Lisa just posted up. Eric Church at Cheyenne Frontier Days a few summers back was the last concert she went to. I said I have to go to the sit with the Riff Raff. I used to be in the concert business. I don't like being with the Riff Raff. Jim says he's proud to be Riff Raff. Listen, no shock against the Riff Raff that's how we built the Lakey Entertainment Towers. I was a prolific concert promoter in the industry, and I didn't have to wait in lines. Now, if I want to order nachos, I have to go wait in line. And when I ran the concert in an arena, we had a green room and a chef, and I was paying for it, so I got to go eat there. It's different, just different. I love you. You're Riff Raff. I'm a Riff Raff as well. I'm the redheaded stepchild of conservative media. I get it. Ain't nobody more Riffer than me, but here I am. One more comment here. Jim says, last concert was a couple of years ago, Dead and Company, with Bobby Weir, John Mayer, Mickey Hart, and others. A couple of years ago. Jim, I never pictured you as a deadhead, but I guess you are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our aviation travel expert, Jay Ratliff, joins us every week at this time. It's a pleasure to have him here, joining us from the green room. On the stage with full lights, camera, action, Jay Ratliff. Good morning, sir.
Pleasant good morning. I just didn't want you to see me constantly referencing my stock screener, but good morning to you, my friend.
That's what you do, stock screening. By the way, you started off your email where you sent me some some topic suggestions. You started off to not brag, but to point out that you still got it when it comes to trading stocks. Last night at dinner, you made a few $1,000.
Yeah, almost 4,000, and I lost money on one stock for $300. Excuse me. Otherwise, I'd have been over 4. But yeah, I think I'm up 5,600 on the week right now, and it's spare time trading. And most of my students work a full-time job, so we just kind of work it in as their schedule allows. But I tell you, it's great to have an additional revenue stream when you're working for somebody else. I do not. I work for me with the business I've got. But Wall Street, it's a lot of fun, and it's great turning people onto it.
Has the last couple of weeks been kind of exciting? We had that downturn, and everybody said, "Oh, Donald Trump has turned the economy into a cesspool." My 401k's gone, and now within 4 or 5 weeks later, the market's actually up higher than it started this year. So I wonder if anybody that had that panic is apologizing to President Trump. And overall, though, I'm guessing portfolios are looking pretty good.
Well, the worst thing you can do is sell when that happens, when stocks drop. And Warren Buffett said it best. He said, trading stocks and making money trading stocks has nothing to do with intelligence. It has to do with temperament. And when you see everybody panicking, and many people did as the stock market was dropping during those few weeks, they're not retiring for 10, 15, 20 years. And they're panicking and selling their securities. I mean, if you're spending money every month and you're one of the buy, hold, and pray individuals that are looking long term, and you like certain stocks and you're buying them at a discount, why are you panicking? What you're doing is you're getting your stocks on sale. But because of the fear that a lot of people have, it's like, I got to get out because it's going to keep going down. Warren Buffett waits for the market to drop, and that's when he goes shopping for stocks. I've never understood why we will go looking for a deal on a car, clothes, whatever it might happen to be, and pat ourselves on the back when we save money, but we want to rush into the stock market when prices are all-time highs. I've never got it, but I don't like risk, so that's why I day trade and teach my students to. We're in and out of the market quickly. If we hold a stock 8 or 10 minutes, we can make 8 or 10%. I'll take those singles and doubles all day long, and leave those grand slams, the few and far between, to other people. I like sleeping well at night, and knowing that I don't own anything overnight means I'm prepared for the next day. And I don't care if the market's going up, down, or sideways. There's always opportunities out there simply because of the emotion, that tug of war you and I've talked about, greed and fear. You just keep your mind about you. Follow your checklist, and there's a lot of opportunities out there to make some considerable sums of money.
Jay Ratliff is my guest. By the way, if you ever go to jratliff.com, that's what you'll see about day trading. Prolific day trader. He's on national stations on Fox News and other places throughout the year. Some regular segments, again, talking with us. We talk travel and aviation, but on those segments, he talks trading and the markets. So feel free to go to jratliff.com. You can reach out with a travel aviation question there as well. But don't be shocked if you see something about day trading and say, am I the wrong guy's website? I didn't know. All right, Jay, real quick, before we get to a couple of quick topics, we'll zip through. Anybody called you up and offered you a big airplane recently? I mean, Qatar has offered the United States a big airplane. Nobody's ever called me and offered an airplane. If they'd like to, we have a charity they could donate it to. I'm sure it'd be fantastic.
I think just like John Travolta, you could fill it up with a bunch of supplies and fly him in there for all the people that need him, which would be pretty cool. But no one's called offering me an airplane. And I'm wondering if President Trump is serious about this. I mean, it may be to get the airplane. It may be to tell Boeing, look, we've got a deal, get it done. I've been waiting for quite a while for my Air Force One. And by the time the new one rolls around, the delayed version of the Boeing 747 that they're working on, I don't think he's ever going to fly it. If he does, it may be the day he leaves office in 3.5 years when, the next president signs on. But we'll have to wait and see. The man that wrote a book that's called The Art of the Deal, there's something to be said there. We've seen it in the tariff discussions where he came in saying this, people were freaking out. He's sitting back waiting. We may not like how he gets from A to B. I know I don't many times, but he's going to get there. And that's why I'm excited about his promise and pledge to upgrade the technology for the FAA. You and I have talked about it for more years than I can count, about how antiquated it is. And when he decided to make this one of his priorities, I'm telling you, those of us in the industry were absolutely, super excited because of the fact that politicians in the past have talked about it, but when it came time to spending money, they would prefer to build a bridge, get their picture taken. Spending money on the FAA is boring. Plus, we're enjoying the safest era ever of commercial jet travel. Do they really need it? Blah, blah, blah. And those same useless people, on both sides of the aisle, now point to Donald Trump because, oh my gosh, things are falling apart in Newark and it's obviously his fault. No, it's your fault because you spent your time in DC on your butt, not doing anything and devoting the proper resources to something that we desperately need.
I saw last week the Secretary Duffy laid out some of the antiquated equipment from Newark and other airports, and it looked like something from the Korean War days. It was probably on the set of MASH. Right. I'm thinking this has to be a Hollywood prop. And then they said, and you have this, that when they want to buy parts are so outdated, they have to go on eBay and look them up at some junkyard, I guess. That's just shocking stuff. That's how old our equipment is, and most people weren't aware of that.
People think we're making that up, right? But you can Google it. It's online, so it's got to be true. But yeah, Sean Duffy said some of these parts are so old. If somebody's a cell phone that's 8 years old, it's like, oh my gosh, what a piece of garbage. It's so outdated. But the FAA stuff can be 20, 30, 40 years or more. And it's something we're still trying to use. Who carries parts for that? Who has people who are knowledgeable to work on that kind of stuff? Because a lot of those men and women have retired or died because of how long it's been. But the idea that we at the U.S. government, Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration has to go to eBay to hopefully find parts that will fit some of this stuff. If that doesn't scare you or wake you up, I don't know what will. It's one thing to say we still use World War II based ground-based radar technology to track flights, but I know when he made that statement about eBay, people are like, oh yeah, a real funny joke. No, I'm serious. And, Duffy's also getting some flack because his wife's flying on a conference coming up, and she was scheduled to fly out of Newark, and he's changed that to fly out of Kennedy. And all of these, again, useless politicians are saying, well, see, it's not safe to fly out of Newark. That's why he's changing his reservation for his wife. And of course, it's Donald Trump's fault that it's not safe. And I mean, it's ridiculous when they make these kind of comments because, look, you and I, when we travel and it's January, are we going to fly through Chicago or Houston if we're flying United or Denver? I mean, I'm not going through Chicago in January if I can go to Houston with United. You choose the hubs based on the convenience of, increasing your chances of an on-time departure, which is exactly what he's doing. I get emails through that business website every day from people who are saying, Jay, I'm flying through Newark to a European cruise on United. What should I do? And what do you recommend? And this is what United's saying. And obviously it's up to every consumer. But if I can get to my destination on using a hub other than, Newark, I'm going to do it. Simply because that's how you and I travel. If we can maximize or increase our odds of an on-time flight, we're going to do it. That's why I catch the first flight out in the morning to increase my chances. So when I saw him getting grief for this, I'm thinking they really don't have anything to talk about if that's what they're going to try to get on him for.
I saw, I'm the next 30, 45 days, hopefully I'm going to go to Rwanda. And the last two trips, most trips now, from Denver, they route me to Newark, and then from Newark, I go to Brussels. Mm-hmm. And I've almost missed my connecting flight in Brussels because the ground delays were so bad in Newark. Mm-hmm. And the flight attendants were all like, we hate this airport. We really do. So when I book the flight, I will be telling the travel agent that books for me, I'll say, hey, take me. It's summertime. We can go through Chicago. I can go through Houston. Mm-hmm. I got to get to Brussels somehow. Get me there, but don't route me through Newark. Not because it's maybe not unsafe, but I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to get there on the right day.
That's the biggest issue, and it continues to be because so many times what you see happen is that when you're going through an airport with significant delays. Remember, Newark's battling two things. They have a shortage of air traffic controllers, significant. And that's causing them to work overtime. They're exhausted. And they have equipment that's failed 3 times in the last 2 weeks. We have seen the primary system fail twice where they've lost the scope, unable to see airplanes they're tracking. One time they lost the radio capabilities. And then Sunday morning, this past Sunday, we had a secondary or backup system fail. And what happened then was everything goes blank again. So when you have this happen, it's a clear indicator that the technology is failing us. And my gosh, why wouldn't it, given how old it is? So when you know you have a shortage and you have technology they can't depend on, and neither one of those can be fixed in a matter of days, weeks, or months, it's years. And you're talking about hiring an air traffic controller. It could be 3 years to 5 years before they're trained and ready to assume their post. The technology is so outdated that it's going to take a Manhattan Project, type of emphasis by the president to say, hey, all hands on deck. Let's take 2 or 3 years and get this changed. And I remember when President Trump was in office the first time, he gave us 3 Supreme Court justices. I told my friends, I said, well, he has changed or preserved, if you will, the U.S. for the next 20 years. He did that by those appointments, in my opinion. And when you look at the technology for the FAA, if he pulls this off, he's going to allow us for the next 10 to 15 years to have a much better FAA flight tracking system where you and I won't have to be vectored all over the country. We can go more direct from point A to point B. That's going to save fuel. That should make some people on the left happy. But since it has President Trump's name attached, they will not be happy.
Derangement syndrome. I prognosticate and predicted, his name's been involved in this before, talking about it. Elon Musk might be helping kind of streamline and head this thing up because he knows how to get stuff done technologically fast. And they said 10 years, and it was Elon who said, we can get this done in a couple of years.
They can.
And so, yeah, I think Elon's going to be involved in this. Very quickly, back to that big jet. Trump is touring around the Middle East right now. The CEO of Boeing is with him. Mm-hmm. And I guess Qatar just made one of the largest orders ever with Boeing for new jets out there. Trump's still giving Boeing some business and helping them get business on the international globe, even though Boeing has screwed up the order of Air Force One. Give me your thoughts. Is Boeing going to get their act together now finally? Because we've been talking about how Boeing's been off the rails for a while.
I don't know. I want them to. But, 5 years ago, I was confident that Boeing was going to turn things around. They made a lot of promises to that effect. They changed their CEO. They said, yeah, we did some things in the past that endangered the lives of our passengers, but we've learned from our mistakes, blah, 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 blah. And then we find out 5 years later, not only have they not changed, they're doing more bad things with spare parts and other things. So, ask me in 4 or 5 years if I believe Boeing. I did it once and looked like an idiot. I'm not going to do it again. But, the president understands being America first. If they don't buy airplanes from us, it's going to be Airbus in France, or it's going to be our Bombardier, which is a Canadian company. You have the Embraer aircraft built in South America, and you've got Comac, which is a very surging aircraft manufacturer in China. And I tell you, the more that they get on the ball with some things, they may become a viable option, because we're already seeing airlines saying, look, Airbus and Boeing, I've got like a 6-year backlog. How long would it take our friends in China to provide one of these very state-of-the-art aircraft? So it's going to be interesting to see as we move forward how things go. But Boeing's got a shot here to turn it around, or they're really, really, really going to be in trouble, because you can only fart around and make mistakes as they've been doing for over a decade and get away with it for just so long before you simply are out of time. You're not going to have any more time to apologize and make up and go back to people that you've really inconvenienced over the years by delaying aircraft manufacturing, because, again, self-inflicted stuff that you've been doing. And, right now, if I'm an airline CEO, all the aircraft are pretty much, from a technology standpoint, equal. You might have some benefits to one aircraft or another. I'm trying to find out who's going to get me the airplane the fastest.
Yeah.
And if I've got to wait extra on Boeing, look, I'll consider Airbus. I'll consider anybody. Newer airplanes mean more fuel efficiency, which saves me money. Airlines have 2 big costs: employee costs and fuel costs. And if you can do something to save me money on fuel, I'm all for it. And that's what newer airplanes can do.
I guess these Qatar planes are going to have GE engines, not Rolls-Royce engines. Again, they're owed to America first.
Good call, because, some of the engines we've had that have not been the GE engines, some Pratt and Whitney, some Rolls-Royce, and others have been having some issues over the years. Those GE engines are just incredible. And I like those as power plants or engines on an aircraft because they are very, very proven. You don't have part issues. You've got an incredible support team. They know what they're doing. I tell you, for GE, if it wasn't for the aviation side of things, I mean, they would not have made it. I can tell you that, given some of their past difficulties. But the team that they have is just incredible. And I've got a lot of friends that are connected with GE, even some family, and I keep having them feed to me some of their research and development that they are allowed to talk about. And I'm excited about what they're doing because they keep trying to make things bigger, better, and safer. And for the most part, are doing a great job.
Jay Ratliff, aviation travel expert. Jay, I know you want to get back to making the money on the market. I appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk soon. JRatliff.com, JRatliff.com. I kept him a little longer than probably anticipated, but he's gracious to stick around with us. JRatliff.com. Always a great time to talk about that with Jay Ratliff, all these aviation travel news. Somebody messaged saying, you're going to Africa soon? I don't have a flight book, but I do have to get over there. I haven't been over there this semester for the school year because I've been busy. And I got to get over there the next 30, 45 days. So, yes, I'm going to go. I think that's the plan. Good Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise, I shall. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the stolen memes section of the show. This is how we wrap up the program, where we spin the globe, and suddenly we have all sorts of memes to show up on the screen. We steal them. We're not creative enough, nor we're too lazy to make our own. So here we go. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. First stolen meme of the day. This is, you got to see the image. Me leaving the barbecue early because all they were serving is veggie burgers and White Claws. And I think he's taking a urination break in the gas tank. I think those White Claws might have got to his head. And he's also very angry that they had veggie burgers and White Claws. It's either he had the White Claws and the veggie burgers and made him delirious, or he's angry and he says, I got to go. And he's peeing in someone's gas tank. Yeah, we have sophomore humor here, my friends. We're just a step above 7th grade. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Oh, looky here. I want to know why Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading, and Pelosi is still not in prison. Look at the image there. There's the beautiful Martha Stewart, and then there's Botox Nancy. And it is a great question. Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading. Nancy Pelosi just got rich and one of the most powerful women in the Democrat Party. Figure that one out. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Here's a scary doll photo. Can't wait to leave this outside someone's house. It's an ugly, scary baby doll that says, it's your problem now. How would you like to find that outside your front door? It's your problem now. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one know. It's two bald eagles sitting on a stick. For those of you that were listening to the only on this podcast. Hey, bro, what you thinking about? I don't know, freedom and shit. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what the bald eagle's thinking about, that stuff. No, somebody makes this stuff up. I just read it. We just steal it. That's all we do. Round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. There's Pete Rose. We talked about this yesterday. Pete Rose has been reinstated in Major League Baseball, making him eligible to go to the Hall of Fame, which the earliest he could go would be 2028. But it's a Babylon Bee headline as Pete Rose is waving at the crowd. Pete Rose Hall of Fame induction ceremony to be sponsored by DraftKings. There's a great partnership there. Now that he's reinstated, get to the Hall of Fame, and he can endorse him. But he's no longer here, so that doesn't work. Okay, round around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. I think we got two more. It's a political cartoon. There's Donald Trump standing in front of a blackboard, Art of Winning. We end men in women's sports. We secure the borders. We end DEI. We prosecute criminals. We China-UK trade deals, high tariffs, mass deportation, ending wars, peace through strength. And there's the Democrats with a dunce cap on said, here's the art of losing. We stand for men and women's sports. We stand for open borders. We stand for diversity at any cost. We stand for releasing criminals. We stand to surrender to China. We stand to bow to the European Union. We stand for mass invasion, and we stand for endless wars. There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Last one of the day. I think we have one more. Ladies and gentlemen, we have milked the meme machine dry. And so as the chancellor of Chit Chat, I have to say, we're out. We're all out of them. The guy peeing in the gas tank, Jeff just had a good point. I hope that's a gas tank. I hope that's not an electric car, because as the old farmers realize, you never pee on the electric fence. And I can't imagine peeing on the electric car would feel very good at all. I'm just guessing. I'm not from experience, and I don't want to find out, but feel free. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you as we wrap up the show today about Sherry Cree. She'll be on the program with me tomorrow, homeswithsherry.com. She's my realtor that I want you to get to know. Listen, whatever your real estate transaction may be, you want it to be as strategic as possible. You want it to be seamless. You want to make sure that you're listing at the right time, you're getting at the right price, that you have somebody on your team that can negotiate correctly. I mean, there's an art to negotiation and an art to pricing. And tomorrow on the program live, Sherry Cree is going to talk about the art of negotiation and the art of pricing. But listen, if you're thinking about buying and selling, maybe you just got questions. A lot of, it's not a decision you make lightly to buy a piece of real estate, buy a home, or to sell your home. You got to have the strategy involved. And Sherry will help you with that. She's happy to have a conversation and find out if she's a good fit to help you. Her goal is to be not just a good fit to help you right now or in the next month or so when you're ready to move or ready to buy, but she wants to be your realtor for life. That she goes into every relationship with the client that say, hey, I'm going to help them on their real estate journey until they make their final transaction. She wants to be your realtor for life. That's her objective. That's how she views it. It's not just about right now. It's about how can we partner together in 5-10 years. That's what she works with, that end goal in mind. And that gives her just a whole different perspective and a level of respect for you and your transaction. If you're a military first responder, a veteran, she takes a ding off her own commissions, keeps more money in your pocket. She also, for everybody, if you buy a home, sell a home, she gets commission off that, right? She will take a portion of her commission and she will donate it to the charity of your choice. Sherry is all about not just helping you with the real estate transactions that create generational wealth, but she also wants you to be able to give back to your community. I encourage you, talk to Sherry and have a conversation. Maybe you're not exactly quite ready. Maybe you're kind of developing the strategy. Maybe you're like, did I miss, summer's going to be here. Is it a good time? When do showings go up? When do they go down? Listen, there's a lot of caveats out there, and Sherry can bring them all to the table and say, this is the scenario that would fit best with you. And just it starts with a conversation. Homeswithsherry.com, Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. And you be sure to tell her that Jimmy Lakey's talking about her and give her a call, have a conversation. And there ain't no obligation. It's just a conversation. It's homeswithsherry.com. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow will be the Friday portion of the show. Sherry Cree will be on the program with me for a portion of it. Right now, in just a moment, producer Chad's putting on that safety vest, his hard hat, and he's about to go to work and get this edition of the show launched up on the iHeartRadio app, the Spotify, the Podbean, the Apple Podcast. It's going to become a podcast in just a few moments. If you missed any of it, go listen to it on the stream platforms. Go subscribe and like it. We appreciate you do that. For all of you who joined us live, we appreciate it. If you listen on the stream platform later, don't forget we do the live show, 8 o'clock Mountain Time every Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Come join us. YouTube, Rumble, Good Morning, Facebook, Twitter. I love all of you. I appreciate you. I mean this to all of our sponsors. If you'd like me to shout out your business, info@jimmylakey.com. Until we meet again, may God bless you. May God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here.